You know the 1/10 rule when you buy a car, right? The rule that many financial minimalists and fire enthusiasts talk about when they are considering purchasing a car. They like to limit their purchasing decisions to not spend a lot so they can save a lot more money. While sure, if you spend less money, you can in fact save more. But is it all worth it at the end of the day? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jacob Fisher, and today we're talking about the 1/10 rule, which is a rule developed so you spend less on purchasing a car because historically, cars are some of the worst investments you can make. Now, we won't be going to cars as investments because that was another video of mine. You can watch it in the corner. But more talking about typical cars that normally decline in value. Though if you think about it, that's already a reason to ignore this rule because sometimes you can buy a car that will increase in value and you can consider it an investment. I'm getting ahead of myself though, so let's tap that like button and get into the 1/10 rule. First, it's probably pretty important to talk about the 1/10 rule and what it actually is, because if I just say 1/10 rule, you might have no idea what it is. In fact, I didn't know about it for quite a bit of time. There's a ton of rules out there too, and I'm not convinced that it's someone's job to come up with a new rule every year, so the FIRE community has something to talk about. The 1/10 rule, let's get back into that, states that you should spend no more than 10% of your gross annual income on the purchase price of a car. That's before taxes. So if you make $30,000 a year, then you should not spend more than $3,000 on a car. I don't know what kind of car you can get for that, but if you make $50,000 a year, that's a $5,000 car. $100,000 a year is $10,000 car. $200,000 is $20,000, and $500,000 is $50,000. You get the idea, right? The thing is though, is that the median sell price of a car is $36,000.718. So you would need an income of $367,180 to be able to afford a car using this rule. The monthly loan payment for this car, that $36,000 car, is right around $500 a month with 20% down, which sounds affordable except for that fact that this rule is trying to get out of you having a loan on a car because they would rather just you avoid having a loan in general. Many FIRE rules aren't actually trying to get you out of having a loan. I don't know if they consider houses. Hopefully they consider it a good debt, but you never know. The other side of the equation for what is typically thought as affordable when it comes to cars is that your budget for your car overall should not exceed 20% of your take-home pay. That includes things like gas, repairs, and insurance, meaning the purchase price of the car should not exceed 10 to 15% of your take-home pay. Take-home pay is also that money post-tax, in case you're curious. So $50,000 a year, whatever that is in taxes, divided by 12 times 0.1, and that would be your monthly payment for the car, using a standard affordability calculator for car payments. Let's take two people in this example, both with a $60,000 salary. To make things simple, they both take the standard deduction and receive $46,822 in take-home pay. The 1/10 rule states that they both should not spend any more than $6,000 on a car, but person B likes to enjoy a newer car rather than an older one. So they're gonna follow the 10%, again, another 10, monthly pay rule, meaning they can afford a $21,000 car at a 3.11% interest rate. That's around $390 a month. But they have to pay that for 60 months while this other person just pays it all at once. Because the average down payment for a car is around 10%, and it seems like everything uses at 10% again. They're gonna put $2,100 down on this car. Now this reduces the monthly payments to $341 a month for the car. I wanted to see who had a bigger investment portfolio after 10 years if both had an initial $10,000 portfolio, but person A used $6,000 of it to buy the car while person B used only $2,100 of it. But person A contributed an extra $341 a month to it while person B did that after they paid off the car loan after 5 years or 60 months. Neither of them contributed anything else to this portfolio, and we're going to use the average market rate of return of 9.2%. After 5 years, person A, the FIRE person, has a $33,000 portfolio while person B has $12,000. After another 5 years, person A has $78,000 while person B has $45,000. While we could factor in the repairs of a 10-year-old car from person A compared to the newer one from person B, we would still pretty much end up with the same result or a similar result because person A probably has a bigger portfolio because they've been able to contribute more to it than person B. It also shows a bit of the power of compounding interest. Portfolio size isn't everything though, right? Come on, it's not about the size of your portfolio, but about how you use it. If we break it down on a deeper level, is person A having a better time driving the cheaper car while saving money? Is person B having an awful time driving the newer car while saving a bit less money? I'd argue that both of them are probably having a great time if they are doing the things they enjoy doing. If person A loves to go skiing or loves going on road trips and they purchase a car that won't make it through the snow or drive very far without breaking down, then they're going to have an awful time despite saving significantly more money. Saving that extra $341 a month is nice, but if it comes down to the expense of your own happiness, then it's just not worth it. That being said, don't go out there and purchase a new Lamborghini or a new McLaren or a Jeep Gladiator for $60,000, even though I want a Jeep Gladiator, but I don't have the money to purchase that right now, so I'm not going to do that. I would put myself in severe financial stress, which would only limit what I can do in the first place, and I wouldn't be able to use that car to its fullest potential because I would just stare at it sitting down. I wouldn't want to buy gas for it. I wouldn't want to go skiing. I wouldn't have money to go skiing or buy gas for it, so I'd rather not spend all my money on car payments and keep my car that I like right now. In the 1/10th Rule article, it was developed by the Financial Samurai. That's a blog on financial minimalism and the FIRE movement. I'm sure he just came up with this rule, maybe while sitting on the toilet. But he says if you buy a car for a ton of money, then you're going to constantly worry about driving it around because it could get damaged. While sure, you don't want your new car damaged, do you really want any car you drive damaged? That's just another thing you need to add to the list of repairs. Plus, if you're going to be that person that doesn't care if your car gets damaged and ends up hitting another car, then you're going to have to pay for it anyway because you damaged it. Just because you paid less for a car doesn't mean you should be swinging your doors wildly while you're in a parking lot. I mean, it doesn't make sense to try to damage other cars or your own. If you're trying to retire early and save more and that is your primary goal, then yeah, the 1/10th Rule does make a bit of sense because you won't be spending much money on a car because you've already spent this significant portion and then you'll invest the rest of the money and then you can hopefully retire early because that's the goal, right? But if you are more concerned with enjoying yourself, then maybe use the 10% monthly rule where you only spend 10% of your monthly take-home pay on your car because that should keep you in line and should keep you under a budget, depending on how much money you make. Plus, if you choose to invest in that newer car, maybe you can try to rent it out on Turo while you're working from home and it could pay for itself. That would be nice. If you have a car 12 years or older and you went with that $6,000 car, you couldn't put your car on Turo because they have a limit on the age of the car and the amount of miles on it at 130,000 miles. Well, maybe you want to drive Uber too to make a bit more money on the side or something, and you kind of can't really unless you have a car that meets their specifications. Now, you don't need to go out and do Turo or Uber, but it just gives you another option to try to make more money. Financial independence, retire early is useful, but only so useful if you're going to be enjoying your life while doing so. You can retire by 40, but if it means making no friends, staying at home, eating rice and beans, then how worth it is it really? I'm a big proponent of living how you want to live while spending less, not spending nothing, but just less. Find the deals, use a credit card, and invest early as much as you can and consistently, and you should be good to go in just a short period of years, unless you can get $1 million really quick or something, then you would be fine pretty quickly. Maybe you can't retire 40 like Jerry, but he never wanted to hang out with you anyway. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below, and if you would use the 1/10th Rule or the 10% monthly rule or 20%, whatever you want to call it. I upload videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on travel and finance. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, hit that little subscribe button down there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.